Every single week, millions of Americans walk into small storefronts tucked inside ordinary strip malls across the country. They sit down in oversized massage chairs, submerge their feet in warm water, and hand over $50, $70, or even $100 without thinking twice. In a world where families cut back on dining out, delay vacations, and swap brand-name groceries for generic alternatives when inflation pinches their budgets, one habit remains virtually untouchable. Americans still get their nails done. This isn't just about beauty or personal care anymore. It's an inelastic demand, a $10 billion habit woven deeply into the fabric of American consumer culture. To the outside observer, there's a fascinating paradox sitting right in plain sight. You walk into a rundown plaza, past a dry cleaner and a cheap pizza joint, into a modest salon with no fancy advertising run by an immigrant family speaking limited English. Yet, that very same salon is funding a suburban home in a good school district, putting two kids through private universities, and generating steady cash flow year after year. It looks like the ultimate financial dream. People see the low cost of a bottle of polish and assume it's an easy, bulletproof moneymaker. But if you talk to anyone who has actually owned one of these shops, they'll tell you a completely different story. The reality beneath that shiny coat of gel polish is a complex, high-friction battlefield of fixed overhead, labor dynamics, and regulatory pressure. To understand how this $10 billion habit actually works and why so many first-time owners get blindsided, you have to look past the velvet chairs and look straight at the numbers. When most people dream of owning a small business, they imagine the day the doors open. What they don't see is the financial gauntlet required just to get the keys. Opening even a modest nail salon, a small space with 4 or 5 manicure tables and 4 pedicure chairs, requires a real capital outlay, typically ranging between $60,000 and $110,000. And almost every dollar of that money goes toward things a customer will never notice. It starts before you even move a piece of furniture. You find a commercial space with a sign in the window that says $2,500 a month. That sounds reasonable enough until you receive your first actual lease statement and discover the reality of a triple net lease, or NNN. In commercial real estate, that base rent is just a starting line. You are also responsible for your proportional share of the building's property taxes, structural insurance, and common area maintenance, or CAM fees. Suddenly, that $2,500 lease becomes $3,800 a month every single month before you've earned a single dime. Then comes the physical build-out, where the hidden costs really start to stack up. You aren't just opening a retail store, you're building a specialized micro-facility. Running heavy-duty plumbing to 4 or 5 pedicure thrones, running trenching concrete floors, and installing specialized backflow preventers, easily running $20,000 to $30,000. Then there's the ventilation system. Local building codes and state cosmetology boards have gotten increasingly strict over the years. To handle the chemical fumes from acrylic monomers and acetone, you're often required to install dedicated source capture ventilation systems directly at every single workstation. That's another $10,000 to $15,000 just to clear environmental compliance. And while you're waiting for city inspectors, zoning boards, and state cosmetology inspectors to approve your permits, a bureaucratic process that regularly drags on for 3 to 6 months, your landlord still expects that $3,800 rent payment every month. You are bleeding capital on an empty room long before your first client ever sits down. Slowly, once the doors finally open and the initial capital outlay is spent, you enter the daily reality of operational expenses. This is where most new owners face their harshest wake-up call, because a nail salon operates under a financial structure unlike almost any other retail business. Consider a salon bringing in $30,000 a month in gross revenue. On paper, $30,000 looks like a healthy stream of income. But the way that money gets carved up is brutal. The single largest slice goes directly to labor. The unwritten law of the nail industry is built on a commission split, typically 60-40. The technician keeps 60% of the ticket price, plus 100% of their cash tips. The owner keeps 40%. Out of that 40%, the owner has to cover every single operational expense. That leaves $12,000 to run the entire shop. Out of that $12,000, $3,800 goes straight to the landlord for rent and NNN fees. Another $900 disappears into merchant processing fees because modern customers pay almost exclusively with cards or phones, leaving the owner to absorb the interchange rates on dozens of microtransactions every day. Then come the utilities: water, electricity, gas, which run high due to constant washing, drying, and foot bath heating, easily taking another $800. Add in commercial insurance, marketing, and the constant replenishment of professional supplies, and that $12,000 gross margin shrinks down to a razor-thin net profit. But the financial pressure is only half the battle. The real stress comes from the power dynamic between the owner and the staff. In this industry, there's a common saying among veteran operators: the technicians are the kings, and the owner is just a janitor. Unlike a traditional corporate environment where an employee relies on the company's brand, a skilled nail technician builds a direct, personal relationship with their clients. If a star technician feels unhappy with their schedule or decides they want a better split, they can walk out the door on a Tuesday afternoon and take 40% of your regular clientele directly to the shop down the street. A thriving salon can turn into a ghost town in less than a week simply because two key staff members decided to leave. Beyond the daily grind of rent and personnel management lies a darker, far more dangerous side of the business that keeps every experienced owner up at night. For decades, the nail industry operated largely as a cash-heavy economy. It was an unwritten agreement among many small shop owners to report just enough revenue to cover visible expenses, keep the rest off the books, and minimize their tax liabilities. But that old way of doing business has turned into a massive liability in the modern era. The single biggest existential threat to a small salon owner today is a payroll audit from state labor departments or the IRS. Historically, owners classified their technicians as 1099 independent contractors rather than W-2 employees. By doing this, owners avoided paying employer payroll taxes, workers' compensation insurance, and unemployment contributions. However, tax authorities and labor boards have cracked down aggressively on this practice. If an auditor walks into a salon, sees that the owner sets the operating hours, supplies the chairs, sets the service prices, and dictates the standards, they will reclassify those workers as employees on the spot. When a salon gets audited, the penalties aren't just a minor slap on the wrist. They are retroactive. The owner is hit with back taxes, unpaid workers' comp premiums, interest, and severe misclassification penalties going back 3 full years. It's extremely common for a small shop to face an audit bill of $50,000 to $80,000 out of nowhere. For a business operating on modest margins, a single tax audit is an immediate death sentence. And while the government threatens from the outside, smaller, quieter losses drain the business from within. Chemical evaporation is a constant, invisible leak in the balance sheet. Acetone and monomer liquid evaporate rapidly if containers are left slightly uncapped during a busy shift. Add in the routine breakage, dried-out gel polishes, and small-scale shrinkage of popular supply items, and the shop quietly loses $300 to $500 every month in wasted inventory, money that comes directly out of the owner's personal take-home pay. So how does a successful salon actually survive and generate real wealth despite all these friction points? The answer lies in the art of pricing psychology and service architecture. A smart owner knows that not all services are created equal. If a customer walks in and orders a basic manicure for $20, the salon is essentially breaking even or taking a small loss on that chair time. After paying the technician $12, accounting for the cost of disposable files, buffers, polish, and overhead, there is virtually no net profit left. The basic manicure is what economists call a loss leader. Its only purpose is to get the customer through the door and into the chair. The real profit engine, the hidden gold mine of the industry, lies in high-margin upgrades like gel dip powder and luxury spa pedicures. Consider a gel dip set priced at $65 or a premium spa pedicure priced at $70. The actual material cost for the specialized powder, resin, or single-use spa scrub kit is remarkably low, often between $2.50 and $4 total. That represents a gross material margin of over 90%. The entire operational strategy of a successful shop relies on the technician's ability to convert a basic client into a premium client directly at the station. It doesn't take an aggressive sales pitch. A simple, casual observation like, regular polish is going to chip in 3 days with your schedule, but if we do the dip powder today, it's going to stay flawless for 4 full weeks, transforms a low-margin $20 ticket into a high-margin $65 transaction in a matter of seconds. Because the physical footprint and time required to perform the service remain roughly the same, almost all of that additional margin flows straight down to the bottom line. A shop doesn't need hundreds of customers a day to be highly profitable. It just needs to master the conversion rate on the customers already sitting in its chairs. When you bring all these variables together, the initial capital, the fixed overhead, the labor splits, the tax realities, and the high-margin service conversions, you get a clear, honest picture of what the financial life of a salon owner actually looks like. In a peak year, a well-run shop with 5 busy stations can generate around $360,000 in gross revenue, averaging $30,000 a month. Out of that, $216,000 goes to staff commissions and tips. Operational expenses, rent, utilities, and supplies eat up another $72,000. That leaves $72,000 in net profit for the owner. If the owner also works full-time as an active technician at one of the tables, they can collect another $40,000 in personal commissions, bringing their total annual income to around $112,000. That is a solid, respectable living. It explains why so many immigrant families worked 14-hour days to build these shops and put their children through college. But that success rests on a razor's edge. In a crisis year, whether brought on by a sudden economic downturn, the loss of 2 main technicians to a competitor, or a prolonged construction project right outside the strip mall entrance, that same shop's revenue can easily plunge to $110,000. Because fixed costs like rent, leases, and basic utilities cannot be reduced, the net profit for the entire year can collapse to $6,000. The owner spends an entire year managing people, cleaning foot basins, and dealing with landlord stress, only to make less money than a minimum wage employee. The salon industry is currently undergoing a massive structural shift. The old era of quiet, unregulated, cash-only mom-and-pop shops is slowly fading away under the weight of strict labor enforcement, digital payment dominance, and rising commercial rents. The owners who are thriving today are those who operate less like traditional shopkeepers and more like disciplined corporate managers. They understand compliance, they protect their margins, and they respect the brutal math behind every square foot of their retail space. Succeeding in this business isn't about finding a magic trick or getting rich quick. It's about understanding the invisible flow of money, managing human relationships, and respecting the hidden economics behind America's $10 billion habit.